Hey, this is Coach Jivoni again, and I want to talk to you about hand wraps. Okay. First of all, a lot of people ask, well, why do you have to use hand wraps? There's many reasons, but let me break this down to probably basically three reasons. One, depending on the kind of gloves that you have, a lot of times gloves don't have a lot of padding on the knuckle part. All right. So what you can do is when you wear hand wraps, it'll give you extra padding on your knuckles, as well as the padding that comes with the glove naturally. Okay. Number two, a lot of people have problems with their wrists as far as when they hit things, their wrist bends. Okay. To prevent that, hand wraps will actually prevent that. So when you wrap in your hands, it gives you more support in your wrist as well as the glove with their sleeve on it. Right. The third reason, and probably the most important reason, is that you always want something between your skin and the glove, because when you use the gloves, it gets sweaty, mildewed, all kinds of things pick up in the glove because it gets sweat. It gets really moist. You don't want that going into your hands because it brings, fungus and disease, all that stuff. So as long as there's something that the sweat can absorb into and not back into your skin, is the hand wraps. So that's basically the three reasons why you definitely want to wear some hand wraps. As far as how to wrap your hands, this we have here a title wrap, which is a basic hand wrap that we actually sell here. The wraps come in sizes, usually basically the longer size is 180, the smaller size is 120, and that's just based on the size of your hands. So if you got larger hands, 180 is definitely just enough to cover people with larger hands. If you have smaller hands, they make the 120s. Usually for girls that have smaller hands, they'll use the 120s. Just because you don't want all that excess wrap. There were some girls and some guys that have smaller hands that like the 120s because they like the extra padding. So it's a choice of preference. There's basically just two sizes, 180 and 120. And it's just a preference as far as the size of your hands. Larger hands, 180, smaller hands, 120. I'm going to basically show you two ways to wrap based on if you want more knuckle protection or if you want more wrist protection. So usually when you get your hand wraps and you open them up, they'll have a part which says this side down, okay, which is an indication of how you want to start. Here's your little loop in the hand wrap, and you want to always keep your hand strong and firm, and when it says this side down, that's down. So I can't see the print, okay? So the first one I'm going to show you is called the basic 3. And it's easy to remember. You always want to do 3 wraps, okay? 3 times around. So I start with the wrists, okay? Around the thumb. I go 3 times around the wrists. 2 and 3. Give it a little tug. Now I want to go 3 times around my knuckles. So I come underneath, 3 times around the knuckles. Always keep the hand strong. 2 and 3, okay? Next, I want to go underneath and go once around the wrist. And then I want to go up in between each finger. I start with the pinky. I go in between the pinky. I go straight down, tuck it in. Then I want to wrap it in, like so. I go between the next pair of fingers. Come straight down. And then I wrap it in. Next, I go through the last set right here. I go between, straight down, tuck it in, and wrap it in. So their knuckles are covered. I separate the fingers. You always want your fingers separated, so again, it makes it easier so when you're punching and that you don't break your knuckles. You always want a little space. All right. I got 3 around the wrists, 3 around the knuckles. I got in between the fingers. Now I want to lock all these in, the knuckles. So I go once around the knuckles to cover it up. Now from then, all I want to go is from wrist to knuckles until I'm done. Wrist, knuckles, wrists, and when I'm getting close to the end, as you see the Velcro right here, I'll finish off like that. You always want to wrap it up at the wrists. You make a fist, and you kind of pound it, tuck it in. And there's your basic 3 wrap. Okay? Now, for my size of my hands, I use 3. If you have excess tape, smaller hands, you might want to go 4. Basically 4 wrists, 4 knuckles, in between, once around the wrists, and finish up wrist, knuckles, all right? So depending on the size of your hand, we'll decide whether you want to do the basic 3 or maybe even 4, okay? The next type of wrapping, I'm just gonna do this, is if you have problems with when you punch, you're still feeling your knuckles, okay? Now what I suggest is that you make a pad first, okay? I'm gonna show you that. You make a pad for your knuckles, then you start the process of wrapping your hand. So what I do is I put the wrap on, all right? I go around my fingers, let's say 4 times. Just my fingers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I pull this out and I place the pad across my knuckles, like so. That's my pad. And then I lock the pad in by going over it. There's my little pad. Now I start the 3, just like the beginning. 3 around the wrists, 2, 3. On this time, since I already got a pad here, I can do just 1 across the knuckles, right? Because I have an extra pad there. I go down underneath, like so, and then I go in between the fingers. Starting with pinky, straight down, lock it in. Next set of fingers, in between, straight down, lock it in. Last set of fingers, straight down, lock it in. And from here, like I said before, you want to lock these in with 1 wrap, and the rest is just wrists, which I am pretty ran out. Right there, I will stop and finish off with wrapping the wrist. So I got an extra pad, I can even feel it. It's thicker across the knuckles, all right? And it's less in the palm. This is just if you still have problems when you punch something and you still feel your knuckles, we'll put an extra pad there, all right? And you're still doing the basic 4. So there it is. The basic way to wrap your hands, the basic 4 or the 3, depending on the size of your hands, which is a straight balance wrap, or you can put extra wrap and put a pad on, or if you're still having problems when you hit the pad and you still feel pain in your knuckles, put an extra pad on just like this. Now as far as how many hand wraps to wear, it really depends on how often you train. You would always want a fresh pair of hand wraps each time you train. It's not like underwear where you gotta change it every day. Unless you train every day, then if you're training 5 days a week, then you should have at least 5 pairs of hand wraps. The thing is, you always want a clean wrap. If you're training 3 days a week, you should have at least 3 to 4 pairs of hand wraps. Okay? You always want your hand wraps to be clean. You always want them fresh every time you train. All right.